Hey y'all, I'm Rylan. Welcome to my channel. I'm kind of sitting in a little bit of a different spot today than I normally do for my sit down videos, and it's for a super fun reason. I haven't done a video like this in years, since I was probably a freshman or sophomore in college, so I'm very excited to be sitting down today with y'all to tier rank all of the thrillers that I've read in 2024. Technically, of course, the year is not over yet. Could I read a couple more thrillers before the end of the year? Most definitely, but these are all the ones that I've read leading up to this point. There's a very good list here. I'll share my screen in just a moment, and we're gonna go through and tier rank all of these books. I'm not gonna give y'all synopses for all of these books. I might share just like my very general thought, but I'm largely just going to be focusing on trying to rank them and figuring out the ones that I read earlier this year and like how much I remember of them and where they could fit into this tier ranking, because I am afraid that I've forgotten about some of these. So we're going to be navigating this tier ranking chart. There's 5 sections to it. I'll share my screen in just a second, but we're going to go through and we're going to get all of these thrillers that I've read in 2024 on this chart. I need to share my screen with y'all. I'm going to be putting myself in like a corner somewhere, and I'll probably be moving myself around. That way y'all can see the whole screen the whole time, or as much of the screen as possible. But I've been looking forward to this video for months now, or weeks now, I guess, more truthfully, probably. If y'all want to see me do this with the romance books that I've read, or just all the books that I've read in 2024 in general, feel free to comment down below and let me know. I think tier ranking videos are so much fun. I love this website that a lot of people tend to use for it, and I'm excited to use it again today for the first time in several years. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and shift y'all around, and we'll go ahead and get started with tier ranking my 2024 thriller reads. I have seemed to have forgotten how to get it started, so we're gonna try one more time and hopefully this works. Let's see, file, new screen recording, record entire screen, record. All right, I hope it's recording, because it's going to be really awkward and frustrating if I do this whole video to find out that it wasn't recording, but I think we're good to go. So here's my screen, ideally. I am on tiermaker.com. This seems to be the website that a lot of people use to do tier ranking videos of this nature. And I have 5 sections. I actually meant to change the colors of the tiers, but that's okay. This will work for right now. So I've got 5 sections. I could just do this like 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star reads, but I kind of wanted to make it more exciting than that. So I've got some words instead, especially because some of my opinions on these books, I guess, could change a little bit. So there's some more flexibility, I think, with doing it this way versus just what my star rating was for these books. So 5-star reads, essentially, or like my favorite books of the year, are going to be going in the section Had Me on the Edge of My Seat, Loved. 4-star reads-ish will be going on Ooh, I Liked That. And then middle of the road books, Not That Thrilling, Wanted More. And then we've got Meh, and then finally No Thank You. I think most of these books will be going into these middle 3 boxes. I don't think I'll have a ton that go into No Thank You, and I don't think I'll have very many that go into Had Me on the Edge of My Seat, because I am unfortunately nowadays a very picky reader, and I don't love a lot of the books that I read, and I hate that, but I'm just not. However, there have been some very good thrillers that I've read this year that I'm excited to toss up into that tier at the top of the chart, but I don't think there'll be a ton. But maybe I'll surprise myself as we're kind of navigating all the books that I've read, or all the thrillers that I've read in 2024. I honestly have no idea how many books I have on this list, but there's a good chunk right here. We've got 2.5 rows completely filled with thrillers that I've read. These books are in no particular order, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start with what's first up here, and we'll just move down the line and it'll be a great time. So first up on this list is The House in the Pines, and I read this one a couple months ago and I rated it 3 stars. I remember that. I did like it. There is a very unreliable narrator in it, and I remember being a little bit confused though, because there was kind of a paranormal or like psychological element to it that wasn't quite based in reality, and I have a hard time with the things that like aren't real. So I think I'm gonna put that into not that thrilling, wanted more. This could change though. We'll see what happens by the end of this list. I might end up shifting some things around because I feel like that one could also go into ooh, I liked that, because I did like it, but the ending just got to me and I was confused. So we'll keep that there for right now though. Next I have Never Lie by Frida McFadden. I've read a lot of Frida McFadden books, and most of them I have not liked, and all of them I've read this year. I can't remember if this has to be one of the ones that I did not like, because I've only rated one book by the author 5 stars and the rest have all been 3 or 2 stars. So I'm trying to look at the other ones that I've read and seeing where this one lines up with them. Honestly, it's forgettable, so we're gonna put it into meh. It was probably one of the 2-star ones that I read, but I could be wrong. Next I have Mr. Magic by Kirsten White. This was kind of more of a horror novel, I think. It's technically classified as, but it's also very much a thrilling, suspenseful book. I liked it. I love this author's other book that was super unpopular upon its release because nobody was liking it. That book was called Hide. I don't have a copy of it like on here because I read it last year, but I rated that book 5 stars, so I was super excited about this one. I did like this one. I think I'm gonna move it into ooh, I liked that. It was kind of like a top of the 3-star for me, or like a high 3-star, I guess, if that makes sense. I did like it. Again, when you're kind of dealing with a book that has more of a paranormal element to it, I tend to get confused. There's that. Like Mother Like Daughter by Kimberly McCrate. I recently read this one for a Book of the Month catch-up vlog and I gave it 3 stars. I liked it. The mystery in the end wasn't that suspenseful to me. Like, it wasn't that exciting. There was no like super intense things that happen in my opinion. So I think I'm gonna put it into the not that thrilling, wanted more from it, because while I liked it, I wanted more. So there's that. Next up we've got How I'll Kill You, which I also read semi-recently for a thriller reading vlog. I rated this book 4 stars. This is about triplet serial killers. Super crazy. Really enjoyed this one. I think I'm going to put it in the ooh, I liked that category. We've also got Love Letters to a Serial Killer. Really enjoyed this one. Also read it pretty recently. I think I'm going to put that one at the top because while I gave it 4 stars, I really liked it, and in this entire list of thrillers, it's definitely one of my favorites because a lot of these have been 3 stars or less. I really enjoyed Love Letters to a Serial Killer. It's really kooky and quirky and kind of silly, but I personally loved it, and I'm just obsessed with that cover too, so that doesn't hurt at all. Also, I don't love that you're not going to be able to see the whole chart at once, but I wanted to be able to show the whole cover, so that's fine. Let's see if I can like, oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, we'll just leave it like this for right now, I guess. Next up we've got The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden. I did not really care about this book. I'm gonna actually give it 2 stars, I think, or I'm gonna put it in the meh category. I thought that all of the plot twists at the end were kind of silly, and while one of them was unexpected, I just feel like a lot of times, for me personally, Frida McFadden's books are very chaotic, but not in like a great way. Sorry for all the Frida McFadden stans. I'm just not a huge fan, but also I can't stop reading her books. So I don't know if that says something about me, but that's where we're at. The Last Word by Taylor Adams. I also read this very recently. It was on my 10 before the end list, and I have, of course, finished it. Gave it 3 stars, but it was super wild. I'm gonna put it in the ooh, I liked that category. This one is about a serial killer, or it's about an author who is stalking and wants to murder a reader who gave his book 1 star. There are tons of twists and turns in this book. From the very first or second chapter, things are happening. It was very crazy. It was kind of hard to like grapple with it all though, so I did like it, but I rated it 3 stars. But I still think it goes up in the ooh, I liked that category because it was very fascinating, and I really liked Taylor Adams, so I had high hopes for it, and it was super interesting. Next we have All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers. I read this over the summer and I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 4 stars, I think, or maybe I gave it 3 stars. Not that like that necessarily matters, but I did like it. It was super slow. I think I'm gonna put it in the not that thrilling category actually. It was very slow and I wasn't quite sure how some of the things about the past would end up connecting with the present, and I felt like there wasn't enough connection up until the very end of the book, which was kind of frustrating and made me not that interested in the book at times, but I did like it. So we're gonna put it in the middle of the row tier list, but that's okay. It's fine. That works. Next, we've got The Burning Girls. I read this a couple months ago from NetGalley. I'm gonna put that in the meh category. I liked it. It was fine. The ending was really confusing for me, and it's very much a slow burn thriller, which can be hard for me sometimes. I really like them occasionally, but also not a favorite one of mine, unfortunately. The Perfect Ending by Rob Kaufman, yeah, definitely goes into the no thank you category. So sorry. This is one of the only books I think that I've rated 1 star in 2024. Really did not like that book, so it's going into the bottom. And I guess you can see all the books on the tier right now, so hopefully it stays that way and you can see the whole chart at once. Next up is Bright Young Woman by Jessica Knoll. I'm putting this into the not that thrilling wanted more. Everybody loves this book. I thought it was fine. The ending especially was very disappointing to me because there wasn't like some big reveal. It was kind of just like things fizzled out in my opinion, and I felt like I listened to this book for hours and hours just to kind of be disappointed in the end. So didn't love that one, but that's okay. But it was fine. Like, I wanted more from it. I had high hopes for it. I love a good serial killer novel, and especially as I'm writing a thesis project on this kind of subject matter, I wanted more from it. I did like it though. It was fine. I've also got Delilah S. Dawson's Guillotine. I'm gonna put in ooh, I liked that. I thought this book was wild. I just wanted a lot more from it. It is more of a novella thriller slash horror book, and very much has all the female rage, has all the revenge killings, and I really liked it. I just wanted more, but I feel like compared to the other books in the not that thrilling category, I liked Guillotine more. So we're gonna keep that one there. I've also got Under the Surface by Diana Urban. I'm also going to put that in the ooh, I liked that category. I have read 3 of this author's books at this point and have not liked any of them up until Under the Surface. Really fun, young adult, isolated, catacombs, thriller. Very unexpected, enjoyable book for me, but I really liked it. I've also got Do Not Disturb by Frida McFadden, which I'm going to put... The problem is I have no idea where these line up because they all get blurred in my head. I think I'm gonna put it in the not that thrilling category slash wanted more, because this is one that I actually kind of liked. I read it a couple of months ago as well. Very intriguing, very mysterious. I wanted more, I think, in the end, but in terms of my Frida McFadden current tier ranking of all the books that I've read, I do think that this one's on the higher side. It's a motel, snowstorm, she's a murderer vibe, but there's other murderers around. It's pretty exciting. It was fine. It was good. I always want more from Frida McFadden's books, I guess, except for with Ward D, which is our next book, because I had to put that one up and he had me on the edge of my seat category because this is one of my favorite books from 2024. I'm not sure if it will be in my official 2024 wrap-up or not, but I did give this book 5 stars, a very quick and easy binge that was super fascinating to me. I actually did a book review video on this at the beginning of the year because I just loved it so much, and this is kind of what kickstarted my Frida McFadden binge, except that unfortunately did not end up enjoying most of the ones that I've read since then. And next up on the list is The Inmate by Frida McFadden, and this one is also going into the meh. I thought that the main character in this one was very silly and made very silly choices for the fact that she was a mother with a child and she could have been smarter in what she was doing, but that's okay. But next we got The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I have been highly anticipating this book, or just any book by the author, for years now, since The Maidens came out back in 2022, I think, or 2021. But unfortunately, I gave this book 3 stars. I wanted more from it. I thought it was a very unique way to tell the story that was being narrated in this book, but unfortunately, especially compared to his other books, I just did not like it very much. But I did like it though, just not as much as I wanted to, unfortunately. First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston, also going into the not that thrilling. It was very slow burn, and it was kind of hard to see how all the timelines connected to each other until the very end, of course, which you get that with thrillers. Like, you have to be willing to wait for the plot twist, but I feel like you can also drop hints. that would make the connection seem stronger. And so for most of the book, I was kind of just wondering when we would get to see how all of these timelines that we follow, which is like 6 timelines, I think, 5 or 6 timelines, how they connect to the present time. And it was just kind of blurry and a little bit of a slow book as well. So I wanted more from it, but I would read more from this author. I think it was her adult thriller debut, so I did like it. Next, we've got The Clinic, putting that up in the ooh, I liked that. If you like thrillers that are isolated settings that take place in like rehabilitation places, would definitely recommend that one. It was very fascinating, very dark, but I personally loved it and want more. This Delicious Death I'm putting in the meh category. I think I gave it 3 stars. It was fine, but not really that memorable to me, except for the fact that it's a post-COVID book, and so it's kind of like a similar thing to COVID in the book, except like it's like almost apocalyptic, and it was fine. It's not my normal style or like genre of book, I guess, where it's more of like a young adult dark dystopian, but it was fine. I think it counts as a thriller though, at least according to NetGalley. I think it's a YA thriller or a mystery, so it was fine. Room for Rent, I think I'm also going to put this one at the no thank you. It was just very slow, and the plot twist was very not great to me, and by the end of the book I was kind of just upset that I spent so much time reading it, but that's okay. Kill for Me, Kill for You, we're putting on to the wanted more. I thought that this book was set up very interesting, but I thought it was very evident, in my opinion, that the author was not from the US when they were talking about driving quickly down a main street in New York City. And I've never been to New York City, so maybe I'm just like being super harsh, but I don't think that you're just driving quickly down a main road in New York City without traffic. So it was kind of weird that like they were always rushing everywhere. There was no like, I don't know, I didn't really feel like it was really New York City, but again, never been there, so maybe I'm being too harsh. Also, I don't think the plot twist was really all that great for me, but it was fine. It was a quick read though, which I did like. We've also got The Perfect Daughter, which I read earlier this fall, I think. I'm gonna put this one in the, I don't really remember it, so I'm gonna put it in the meh category. I know it's about a girl that has either multiple personality disorder or one of like something in that kind of like area, and apparently she's like committed a murder, but it's not her, it's like one of her personalities or something, and so she doesn't remember what actually happened, and that's all I remember. I don't remember how I ended up enjoying the book. I don't remember what I rated it. I don't remember what the plot twist was in the end, because I'm sure there was one, but I don't really remember anything, so we're gonna just put it in the meh category. I think it was fine though. I think I liked it. I've also got The Imposter by Marin Montgomery, which I'm also giving to the meh category. It was silly, is all I'll say. I didn't like it personally. I didn't hate it, so it's not like the bottom row, but I didn't really like it either, so there's that. For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. I wanted so much more for this book. I've read 2 of the author's other books and either rated them 4 or 5 stars. So when I got an arc of For Your Own Good years ago, I just read it this summer though, I was unfortunately very disappointed because I had such high hopes for it just based off what I'd read from the author in the past, and it just felt very disconnected. The chapters are very choppy, and I wanted more from the book, so we're going to put that one in the not that thrilling wanted more category. We've also got The Reparents of Rachel Price. I'm gonna go ahead and put that into the meh category. Might be a kind of unpopular opinion. Everybody loves Holly Jackson, but that book was too long and the last 20% was just too chaotic for me. The Resort, also going into the meh category. I don't remember it. I remember loving the setting, but I don't remember really what happens in that book. I don't remember loving it. I don't remember hating it either, but kind of a forgettable book for me, unfortunately. Keep It in the Family by John Mars. I'm gonna put it into the wanted more category. I did want more for this book. I have read several of this author's books and I've really enjoyed them. I did like this one. It's very creepy, but I feel like the ending of it, I don't know, the plot twists a lot of times can make or break the book for me. I think I guessed it really, really early on in this book. This was also right around the time that I fell into my reading slump, so maybe I just didn't love it because of that headspace that I was in. I just wanted more from the book, but I think I guessed the plot twist like really, really early on in this one because I remember like the family dynamics and I wanted more from it, so there's that. We are somehow already almost to the end, which is crazy. Middle of the Night, we're gonna put it into Ooh, I Liked That. It's very much a slow burn for Riley Sager, I feel like, and I'm surprised that I liked it as much as I did, but I did end up really, really liking this one, and the ending made me tear up a little bit. Very eerie, and I really wanted more about one of the settings of the book, but in my Riley Sager favorites to least favorites list, Middle of the Night does kind of fall into that upper half range. Unfortunately, the only one left does not. I'm gonna put that one in the meh category. I actually guessed the plot twist in this book within the first 50%, so I knew what to expect by the end of the book and was disappointed in the end, unfortunately. The Counselors by Jessica Goodman, I'm just gonna go ahead and put in the no thank you category, largely because I don't remember anything about this book except for the fact that I didn't like it very much. I think I was mostly just bored while reading it, but kind of a forgettable book in my opinion. Unfortunately, A Talent for Murder, though, is going to go at the top of the tier. It had me on the edge of my seat. Loved, because this is one of my favorite books from 2024. It's about a serial killer, or it's about a librarian who thinks her husband is a serial killer. It's pretty crazy. We actually get to follow the perspective of a serial killer, which is kind of what made me think about doing my thesis project on a creative writing short story collection and writing from the perspective of a serial killer for one of them, I guess. So yeah, really, really enjoyed that book. That's all I'll say about it. I do have a reading vlog where I read that book though as well. The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James, I did like it. It follows a female serial killer, or an alleged female serial killer, and I don't think you see that very often, and I thought it was very fascinating. You do have kind of a paranormal aspect in this one, but in this book it did not confuse me, it didn't bother me, and I did like it a lot. Daisy Darker, we're gonna go ahead and put in the no thank you. This is my least favorite Alice Feeney book. I have read all but 2 of her books at this point and have really enjoyed all of them. I thought that the big plot twist reveal in this one was not good at all. Sorry Stasia or anybody else who watches this and loved that book. I really, really strongly disliked it, and I think when I finished the book I kind of just threw it across the room because I did not care. I was over it. I thought that it was a very, I don't know, silly way to end the book. I thought it was kind of an easy trick to make, and sorry, that's my rant, I guess. Didn't love that one, unfortunately. The Couple in 5B we're gonna put into meh. Kind of an unforgettable slow burn mystery. I do love a good setting where it's like the apartment might be haunted or something like that, or weird things go on in the apartment building, but didn't love it. That was my first book by the author though, and I think I would be willing to try out more. Dead Men is also going to go in the no thank you. This is probably my least favorite Frida McFadden book, because this is a book that was published years ago and then recently republished, and it's very evident that there were parts in the rewrites that weren't matched with the parts from the original publishing, and so there was a lot of repetition in the book. I felt like I was reading the same story over and over again with each character. There wasn't a ton of differences between the different characters that we follow, and it was a very long book for not a happy or satisfying outcome at all. So there's that. Next is Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney, which I'm going to put into the Ooh, I Liked That category. So again, 2 Alice Feeney books on 2 ends of the spectrum, kind of like Riley Sager as well. Good Bad Girl though was a very quick read, very fascinating. The plot twist was very interesting to me. I did not see that coming, and I loved seeing how all the characters' lives were actually woven together and how you could kind of hint at that without making it super obvious until the end of the book, and it was great. Not my favorite book by Alice Feeney, but still an enjoyable one. We've only got a couple left on this list, which is crazy. Next up, I've got If I Die Tonight by Allison Galen. I'm gonna put that into the meh category. I liked it, I gave it 3 stars. I do remember that, but it was very slow burn as well, and I wasn't that interested in the plot or the characters up until the last 25 or 30% of the book. The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins is gonna go at the very top on the loved category. This is a book where it feels like nothing happens while everything happens all at the same time. It's such a slow burn. I think it's more of like a character driven thriller versus a plot driven thriller, but I rated this book 4 stars. Again, not my favorite book by Rachel Hawkins, but I've read all of her thrillers. But this one, similar to all of her other thrillers that I've read, was super interesting and I couldn't stop reading it, and I also read it really, really quickly, so loved that. Sleep Tight by J.H. Marker is going into the ooh, I liked that category. This is more of a cult thriller horror book. The characters that we were following were confusing at times, and I wanted more from like knowing more about them from some of the characters we don't really know much about, except we get perspectives from them. But in the end, everything all made sense, everything tied together, and it was really fascinating, honestly. Which maybe is kind of gross of me to say, or like gory of me to say, but I really liked it. The Dare by Natasha Preston is going to go into the bottom row. I think that her books are a very big hit or miss for me. Her first couple of books that were originally published on Wattpad before they were picked up by a traditional publisher, I was kind of obsessed with. I don't know if anybody remembers, but there was a book called Cellar or The Cellar, and that book had me like hooked, and that's kind of what I remember like kind of launching me back into reading in high school. I think when I would like read on my iPad in the middle of the night, supposedly like sleeping, but instead reading my book. So really enjoyed that one. So I have picked up a lot of her other books since she kind of went trad published, but I haven't liked most of them. I just think in this one the character flip from good character to bad character happened with like no timeline. It was almost like from one chapter to the next, our main character's personality completely flipped, and it was very disorienting for me. The eyes are the best part. I'm gonna go ahead and had me on the edge of my seat. I loved it. I did really enjoy this one. It very much was an unexpected read for me. I had wanted to read it for a while, but I did not know what it was about, and I wanted to keep it that way, and I think that did me good in the end because it was very weird, but also I really liked it. And then finally, My Sweet Girl. I actually finished this book last night as of when I'm filming this video, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in the no thank you category as well. I thought that the main character was completely terrible, and the cursing every other sentence like throughout the entire book except for in the past chapters kind of got on my nerves. Language isn't really a thing that like I think about too often in my books, but when there's multiple words every other sentence or every sentence in certain sections, it kind of just got like very grating on my nerves. I didn't really want to hear it anymore. And the main character, while I like unlikable characters in thrillers a lot of times, was a little bit over the top for me in this one. So unfortunately I did not like that one, but it's fine. We're fine. But these are all the thrillers that I've read this year, and it was actually a little bit easier to sort them out than I thought they were going to be, and I don't think I want to make any changes. The balance of favorites versus least favorites kind of lies where I figured it would, but I do have more on the top row than I thought I would, and I definitely have more on the bottom row than I thought I would as well when I first started this and sat down to kind of look at this tier chart. But otherwise I think everything aligns pretty nicely and is expected just based off what I remember of these books. So not mad about that. I'll go ahead and run through I guess what book I have on every list or every row, and then we'll go ahead and end the video. But my favorite books, I guess, or my favorite thrillers from 2024 from this list has been Love Letters to a Serial Killer, Ward D, A Talent for Murder, The Heiress, and The Eyes Are the Best Part. Books that I likely rated 4 stars or high 3-star and really enjoyed were Mr. Magic, How I'll Kill You, The Last Word, Guillotine, Under the Surface, The Clinic, Middle of the Night, The Book of Cold Cases, Good Bad Girl, and Sleep Tight. And the Wanted More books were The House in the Pines, Like Mother Like Daughter, All Good People Here, Bright Young Women, Do Not Disturb, The Fury, First Lie Wins, Kill for Me, Kill for You, For Your Own Good, Keep It in the Family. And then the books that I felt very meh on, unfortunately, were Never Lie, The Boyfriend, The Burning Girls, The Inmate, This Delicious Death, The Perfect Daughter, The Imposter, The Reappearance of Rachel Price, The Resort, The Only One Left, The New Couple in 5B, and If I Die Tonight. And then finally the books that just were not for me, unfortunately, were Room for Rent, The Perfect Ending, The Counselors, Daisy Darker, Dead Med, The Dare, and My Sweet Girl. Will I read more thrillers by the end of the year? Most likely. Not a ton, but hopefully 1 or 2 more I have on my 10 before the end list that I would like to get to. But I think I've done a pretty great job of focusing on thrillers again this year. I feel like I go through waves of fluctuating between being a very big thriller reader and not wanting anything to do with them and reading romance instead, and kind of vice versa. I kind of go back and forth, but this year I've definitely had a fun time with my thrillers, even if it looks like I haven't loved most of them. There were aspects of most of these books that I did really like, and I think I've got a very fun range of thrillers here, which is very cool. I love seeing that. I have read a lot of NetGalley thrillers as well this year, which is exciting. A bunch of these have been NetGalley arcs, so I've gotten to raise my NetGalley ratio up a bunch this year. Not quite to where I want it to be, but definitely made progress on that, and I'm catching up, and I've gotten to read a bunch of books on my bookshelf and for book of the month and all the good things. So that's my 2024 thrillers tier ranking chart that I have for y'all. I'll go ahead and end the recording, I guess, and we'll just hop back here. But if you've read any great thrillers in 2024, feel free to comment down below and let me know. I love adding books to my TBR and want to hear if there were any thrillers or mysteries that you loved reading this year. Otherwise, that's all that I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.